Hello everyone, welcome to the Redmen TV. It is player ratings after Chelsea beat Liverpool by 1-0 at Anfield. The Allison poll is open now. To vote, all you have to do is type in !vote, put a space in, then put a number out of 10. It won't be a high number, it won't be a double-digit number. And then press that enter key, and then you can vote for Allison Becker and to give him his rating. All the votes will be tallied up, and then we will have a consensus. So, yes, Liverpool, crap tonight, to be perfectly honest with you. And Allison was all right. I mean, he made 3 saves, I think it was, on the night. And for me, it looked a little bit shaky. I don't know whether that's just my fears and my insecurities at the moment. But every time he gets the ball, I don't feel really comfortable anymore. And I think that's just because of the mistakes that he's made over the last few weeks and stuff. But I just don't feel comfortable watching Liverpool defenders at the moment, to be honest with you. The votes are in, and he has been given a 6 out of 10 with 40% of the vote. We'll put Trent Alexander-Arnold's poll up, and we'll open that right now for you. But Trent, for me, defensively, really poor tonight. You know, too many times he was here and the ball was in behind and he's just jogging back. And, you know, I know he's tasked with a hard job of getting up and down that wing, and he didn't have too much of an effect going forwards. There was lots of crosses, none of them hitting a man. Some of them you just think, this just feels like you're just hitting it in there because you've run out of ideas and there's no movement ahead of you. And I think that's kind of what we got. But defensively, I mean, he doesn't help Fabinho out at all, and I'm not saying it's Trent's fault because Fabinho's to blame for the goal, but when they switch positions and he cuts back inside, somebody's got to be inside, and for me, right then and there, it was Trent because Thiago was going with a runner and stuff. So, yeah, really poor defensively, not good going forwards. I can see that the vote is coming in, and it's a 4 out of 10 for Trent Alexander-Arnold. So yeah, Fabinho was next, but we're actually going to open the poll up for Kabak first because I wrote them down in a different order. So Kabak, yeah, the poll's open. If you want to vote, type !vote space, number out of 10, press that enter key. I thought he was probably one of the better players for us tonight. I thought, you know, he wins most of his headers, doesn't he? I think, you know, he looked good with the ball at his feet first half. He was spraying the ball around and stuff like that. And he looked quite comfortable over on that left-hand side, to be honest with you. And I think, you know, Fabinho made a couple of mistakes. I don't think Kabak made a mistake, really, tonight, that I can remember anyway. Obviously, I've not watched any highlights back or anything like that. Yeah, no issues in the passing game. 6 clearances, I think it was, on the night. I'm just looking at some of the stats and stuff now. Looked better first half than second half, and it was an average display from Kabak tonight. And I'm sure he'll get an average mark for it. But yeah, encouraging, I suppose, in some ways that he looked all right in a performance that was atrocious, to be quite honest with you, with no creativity and no ideas. Not his fault. He's been given a 6 out of 10. So we'll open up the vote next for Fabinho, who is clearly at fault for the goal. You know, he's got to expect that Mason Mount is going to cut back inside and try and bend one in to the far corner. And Allison's not at fault for that goal. There's nothing that Allison can do. He's diving full stretch for it. There is so much space between Mount and Fabinho when he turns. Mount's quick, but he's not that quick that he can just get away. And there was just no anticipation of him cutting back inside for me there. And there was a few times where I just thought Fabinho looked a little bit shaky and rusty. And yes, guess what? He's been injured, so it's not surprising that he's come back with a little bit of rust. But yeah, I mean, it's just not good enough for me tonight. And I can see loads of votes are coming in. We've got 1s, 2s, 3s, 4s, 5s, 6s. We've even got 10s. We've got 3 votes for 10. Wow, these are wild. I don't think he was very good tonight. He only made 2 clearances. I say he was really poor for their goal. And the vote is over. It's been a 5 out of 10 for Fabinho there. So we'll open it up next then for Andy Robertson. Oh my word, I'm not feeling this tonight. I thought defensively Andy Robertson was actually okay tonight, to be honest. I think he's having a little bit of a struggle because we're not seeing that sort of 1-2 with Sadio Mane where he gets in beyond, because it's sort of, happening like this, he's a little bit unsure of himself when he gets forwards. And I said to Paul during the shows tonight that, you know, he's not getting in behind. So what we're actually seeing is him getting the ball and then having to beat a man. Well, that's not Robbo's game. Robbo's game is running beyond their player and picking the ball up in space. He's not a dribbler. He's a left back ultimately. He's a really good crosser of the ball. And what we're asking him to do is then stop and look for vital passes and stuff like that. And it's kind of not his game. So we need to get back to getting him running onto the ball and then crossing the ball. But defensively it was okay, as I mentioned, and I can see there that, wow, like much worse marks actually than Fabinho, Kabak and Trent Alexander-Arnold, and I thought Robbo was well better than Trent. He gets a 5 out of 10, which, yeah, I suppose that is better than Trent in that as well, isn't it? So yeah, we'll open the vote up next for Gini Wijnaldum. The votes last for a minute. There's not a minute of talking about Gini Wijnaldum's game in here for me. I watched the 95-minute game of Gini Wijnaldum and I can barely tell you what influence he had on the game. And you can rinse and repeat for all of the midfield three, because tonight it felt to me like I knew what Jorginho was in there to do against them. I knew he was there to pass the ball around, and I knew what Kante was there to do. He was going to be that destroyer. He was going to break up play. Kante seemed to be on every one of them every time they had the ball, regardless of their position on the pitch. Kante would walk away with the ball. We were completely overrunning the middle of the park, and that is not a good platform to build a performance from when you've got a two-man midfield going up against you, and they're having the better of your three players. So Gini Wijnaldum for me just lost. I literally just had lost down. So yeah, he's been given a 5 out of 10. I think that's about right. Next one we're opening the vote up for is Curtis Jones, and like we'll talk about the substitutions and stuff, but yeah, we'll talk about the substitutions and stuff. Sorry, it's Thiago we're voting for next. Sorry, my bad. Yeah, Thiago then. Sorry. Get your vote in for Thiago. You can change your vote if you've already voted. No, just too safe. He was... And just nothing seemed to be working there, did it? I mean, how many times you saw the ball and you just want him to play the ball forwards or try and beat a man and get the ball forwards, and it was just all a little bit sideways for Thiago tonight. And again, he kind of overrun. And no credit to Chelsea, like they pressed the hell out of the midfield, they pressed the hell out of the attack, and they pressed the hell out of the defence as well and made it difficult for them. But Thiago, there was just no options ahead of him, and he was just too many sideways balls and stuff like that. And right now, he's struggling to find any sort of a rhythm in this side, and the side that's not unsurprising because the side is struggling to find rhythm within games. And loads of votes, all really, really low for Thiago tonight, and 4 out of 10 wins with 23% of the vote. So Kurt Jones then, yeah, what I was trying to say before, like the substitutions were baffling to me, to be honest with you. I mean, Ox comes on for Kurt Jones, and I don't think it was the right substitution. Obviously, there's another substitution which will take the ire of most Liverpool fans. But the Jones one was just as baffling for me, because at least he was there, at least he was trying, at least he was trying to make things happen. He was getting into good positions, his movement was decent. Like when he had the ball, I wouldn't say it was great. It wasn't a vintage performance, and probably wasn't as good as it's been the last few weeks for Kurt Jones either. But yeah, for me, he was probably the best of the three midfielders, and I don't know whether I'm seeing the game differently to everybody else, and to Jürgen, because that's what I felt it was like. But again, I mentioned it, like really, we just struggled massively. Their three centre-halves took our three strikers out the game, and their wing-backs and their midfielders took the midfield out the game as well. And I can see with the votes coming in, it does seem like he has been given a higher vote than the other two midfielders, so maybe I am seeing it the same way as you. 60 minutes or 62 minutes of the game he was playing better than the other two, yet he was taken off. And I understand that he's a young player and stuff like that, but I definitely thought he could have done with a little bit more. So he gets a 6 out of 10 with 38% of the vote. Next then is Mo Salah. This was the baffling substitution really, wasn't it? We all wanted to see Diogo Jota come on. We were gagging to see Diogo Jota. we did not want it to be at the expense of our most creative player in the first half. And I know second half we weren't playing as well, but if Liverpool was going to make anything happen in that game, first half, it was because of Mo Salah. And I know that the internet's gone wild now because his agents are tweeting and all that type of stuff, like, but that's a crazy substitution for me. He was literally the best of the front three by a country mile tonight. If anything, I'd have been saying just get him in that position and bring Jota on and put Mane over there, get him in front of the goal, let him try and get a few shots off. But no, he's withdrawn, and I'm still baffled now an hour after it happened. I know, look, these lads don't deserve high marks today. I get that, like, but Salah's has got to be up there for one of the highest, because, yeah, I mean, he at least deserves a 6 if 6 is what we're going with. And he does, he gets a 6, 36% of the votes, and 7 actually had 28% of the votes. So he gets a 6 out of 10. On then to Sadio Mane. If you want to vote, type exclamation mark vote, put a space in, put the number out of 10 and press the enter key. Your vote will be tallied up with everybody else's. So Mane, apologies. It was just crap. Like, he should have scored. And we get away with one with the VAR and all that type of stuff. And to then go down the other end of the pitch and Mane knock one in, you know, would have been just perfect, wouldn't it? Like, and we'd have absolutely loved that. It just airballs. Look, you can misjudge a ball. Of course you can misjudge a ball. Even professional footballers, even world-class players misjudge a ball. But it's now this sort of game upon game thing. It's an accumulation of poor performances from Sadio Mane, and that's what we're seeing at the moment. And today was another example of that. Whether it was on the left-hand side, it was poor. When he moved to the right-hand side, it was poor. His touch wasn't there. He's not able to sort of beat his man. He's not winning the free kicks that he should get either. And right now, we are just struggling massively. Sadio Mane is part of that. He is struggling massively. And he's been given a 3 out of 10. Wow. With 26% of the vote. Wow, okay. If Mane's getting a 3 out of 10, I worry a little bit for Bobby here, which we're opening the vote up for Bobby now. Like, here's the thing, that all the front three, they all worked reasonably hard. There was just no attacking output from them in some ways. And when Firmino was over with Salah, trying those little 1-2s, sound. When he was dropping into midfield, not so great. I kept seeming to give the ball away to me anyway. And yeah, he had Mane occupying a little bit of space and stuff like that. Maybe that's different. Maybe he's adjusting, but I can't buy into that because I also know that he's been struggling for a few weeks as well. And yeah, I mean, it wasn't a great performance by Bobby Firmino. Again, just worked hard, but nothing to show for it. And you could maybe point that at every Liverpool player tonight. And Bobby Firmino, yeah, I can see blooming heck, votes are coming in 1s, 2s, 3s, 4s, 5s, and it looks like right now I can see the 2 is winning out, which is mad. But I think that's where the disappointment lies, in the front three, because they're our world-class players. They're the lads who are supposed to be getting us in and out of these sort of problems. And right now, they can't hit a barn door, can they? Wow, there was a late run on 1, and 1 somehow managed to overtake 2, which, yeah, that's scandalous. That's a scandalous mark, lads and ladies. Okay, so the other subs then, Oxlade-Chamberlain. He came on, it was a thing, and I'm not sure why he came on. I'm not sure what he did when he came on. So I'm going to give him, as you guys have sort of voted a lot of 5s, I'll give him a 5 out of 10. Diogo Jota nearly scored with his first touch. That would have been nice. Then he did nothing, so 5 out of 10. And James Milner, yeah, James Milner came on. I'm out of ideas here, boys. I am out of ideas. I'll give him a 5 as well. So there you go. That has been the player rating show. That was a thing. Much like Liverpool's performance tonight. Crap. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. I can't wait to talk to Paul on the instant match reaction. We'll be doing that in 5-10 minutes, something like that. Got a lot to get off my chest because that performance was nowhere near good enough for Liverpool Football Club. Thank you for watching the video. Come over and join us on the instant match reaction. Hopefully Paul will be able to turn my mood around. He hasn't got a good chance of that though, I'll be honest with you. Anyway, we'll see you over there. Ta-ra.
Thank you so much for watching the Redmen TV YouTube channel. Everything we do here is funded by our wonderful subscribers to the redmentv.com. Get over there, sign up and get amazing additional content, interviews, documentaries, mini-series, and of course additional pre and post match day content.